Okay, everyone, this is Mr. Corzine. I'm going to complete the notes just like I promised on solving equations with variables on both sides. Here is proof that I am with you. I am writing a smiley face right on the page. Sorry, that one looks creepy. We'll just go with it. All right, skipping ahead to the first slide, 10b plus 18 equals 4 times the sum of 2b plus 1. I think already my life ed is listening, tuning me out. I don't sound very exciting. I'm sorry. I'll try and be engaging. What we need to do is we need to first distribute here to get the problem to a place where we can move some of the terms around. So my new equation is going to say on this side 8b plus 4. And on the other side, it's still 10b plus 18. The big problem that we have is there is a b on both sides of the equation. And we need to find a way to get them on one side of the equation. Well, we're going to use the same trick we always do, and that's inverse operations. I am going to, first of all, I'm going to get rid of that little green line that I made. I don't want it to look like division. I'm going to subtract 8b on both sides of the equation. I'm allowed to do that because as long as I do it on both sides, it's fair and it keeps the equation true. It cancels out on this side, and now I have, when I combine like terms, I get 2b plus 18 is equal to 4. After that, I solve it like a regular old equation. I subtract 18 on both sides. I'm sorry, that doesn't look like a very good 18. Uh-oh. That cancels out. 2b is equal to a negative 14. Now I divide by 2 on both sides, and b is equal to 7. Now, some people ask me, they say, well, is it possible? Some people ask me, why don't, instead of subtracting 8b on both sides, could I have subtracted 10b on both sides? And that would be okay also. I'm actually going to rewrite the problem here. 10b plus 18 is equal to 8b plus 4. I could subtract 10b on both sides. This cancels out, and now I have 18 is equal to a negative 2b plus 4. Then I subtract 4 on both sides to get 14 is equal to 2b, a negative 2b that is. Then I divide by a negative 2 so that in the end, my answer is still exactly the same. B is equal to a negative 7. The only reason why I would have done it this way instead of this way is when I go and subtract my 8b, it gives me a positive term instead of over here where it gave me a negative term. I usually try and stick with the positive terms. That's just a choice that I make. Either one of these options is fine. Moving on to our next problem. Both of these have a term that we have to distribute. Now, we could distribute each one, or we could try and cancel them out. But in this case, it works out just fine to distribute this fraction. So let me show you. 1/5 times 5 is just 1. 1/5 times 10x. Well, what's 1/5 of 10? That's 2. So I end up with 1 plus 2x over here. And on the other side, I get 4x plus 12. From this point, I get to choose. Do I subtract my 2x on both sides so I can get them all over on the left-hand side? Or do I subtract 4x? I could do either one, but I want to subtract 2x, me personally, because it cancels this out, and then this becomes a positive term. I just think it's easier to deal with. Anyway, after that, I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides of the equation, so I get a negative 11 equal to 2x. I divide by 2 on both sides, and x ends up being a negative 5.5 or negative 5.5. If we keep going, I'm just going to move pretty quick. For this problem, they've just made the problem really long. There's some like terms that I could combine. I've got a negative 6 and a negative 2. So that combines down to a -8. On the other side, I've got a -y and a 3y. Those combine to make a 2y minus 8. Ooh, now look. These are exactly the same on both sides. That means it doesn't matter what number goes in there for y, it's always going to be true. So what ends up happening with this problem is I could simplify it. I could subtract 2y on both sides. Quit laughing at me, please. And actually it cancels out. So now I have -8 equals -8. Well, as long as this is a true statement, what this means is there are infinite solutions. Infinite solutions. Okay, guys, so this next problem is another special situation. Okay. It says solve the following equation if possible. And sometimes it's not going to be possible. So I'll try and highlight that for you in this problem. I will distribute the 2 over here to make this 6 plus 20m. And on the other side, I'll distribute the 5 to make this 5 plus 20m. If you look at the problem, they look kind of similar on both sides. The main thing being, if I were to take away 20m to try and cancel it out on this side, it's also going to cancel out on the other side. And what I'm left with is an equation that says 5 equals 6. When we get to that point, we realize this is not true. And if it's not true, then there are no solutions. You will never find a number to go in for m that will cause this equation to be true. It just will never be true no matter what. It's like somebody made up an equation and they said it was equal to something that it's not possible. So when it's not true, then that should lead you to say that there are no solutions for this equation. Okay, last problem. You're going to solve this one, and it's got a bunch of fractions in there. It's kind of a bummer, but I think we can handle it. I think what I would want to do is I would want to add 1/2 here to cancel this out, and that means I'll add 1/2 here. When I combine 3/2 and 1/2, I get 4/2, which 4/2 is really how much? It's 2. So I'll just get rid of that, and I'll just say now I have 2 plus 3/4 x is equal to 1/4. Now I could have done it the other way around. I could have moved the variable first, but I'll just do it this way. I'm doing it a little out of order, and that's still okay. I'm going to take 1/4 x. You might say, what's he doing? I'll take 1/4 x away from both sides. You say, well, you can't do that. What are we going to end up with over here? We'll get 0. That's fine. And what do we get here? 3/4 minus 1/4. That basically is going to end up being 1/2 x. So 2 plus 1/2 x gives me 0. Well, I've made an extra step for myself, but that's okay. I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. I get 1/2 x equals a -2. After I extend this, I'm going to cancel out the 1/2 by multiplying it times the reciprocal, which is 2/1. Once this is canceled out, then I get x is equal to -4. I can always go back and check. I can put in here like a 4 for 3/4 and 4 and multiply times 3/4 and 4 for 1/4 and so on and so forth. But this is the solution, and this is the end. Now you see your homework. Oh, I'm sorry. We got one more problem here. How exciting. Find the expression for the perimeter of the square if one side is represented by 5x and the other is 3x plus 6. Okay, now remember, I'm just going to go through this quickly. This is a square. One side is 5x. The other side is 3x plus 6. This is a clue that it's a square because these two sides should be the same. 5x is equal. Okay. if I want to solve this and get both of the variables on the same side, I'm going to subtract 3x here so that I get 2x is equal to 6. So that means I'll divide by 2. And now I know that x equals 3. What does that mean exactly? Well, now I can go in and find out that this is no longer 5x, it's 15 units or 15 feet. And on the other side, I get 3x plus 6. So this is for the other side, I'll get 3 times 3 is 9 plus 6, and that also equals 15. Okay, so the perimeter is just going to be 15 feet all the way around. So 4 times 15 gives me 60 feet for my perimeter. You may notice that it says find the exact perimeter if x equals 4. Well, x can't equal 4. We know the only possible way that 5x and 3x plus 6 could be the same is could be equal to each other is if x equals 3. So this is either a mistake or it's like a way of finding out who's paying attention. Anyway, now this assignment is done. Here are your problems. It should be posted in Schoology. And hopefully you're watching this video and getting this complete for tonight. I think you should be able to handle these things. When we return on Monday, because we have Acuity on Friday, when we return on Monday, we will review. We'll do our practice test. And we should plan on taking our test either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Oh my goodness. He looks kind of like mad, but that's all right. He's not mad. He's just excited. Anyway, see you guys soon.